more about BIM. So it's safe to say that at this point, BIM is one of the most popular digital practices in the AEC industry. How did you decide to specialize in BIM and then become a BIM consultant?
It was a consequence of what I was aiming as an architect. It comes with a job, I think, and I think as soon as people understand that you shouldn't put just being a BIM architect or a BIM manager like some kind of crazy sheep that is inside of your company, sooner people will realize that both disciplines can interact, and the benefit will be even greater. So I think people trying to use BIM as a way to sell the project or sell their companies, but in the end, it's about something that will help you to sell your projects. It will help you to sell quality, and that's something that should be there. And being a BIM consultant, BIM specialist is already aligned with my answer to the networking part. I'm finding issues, and I just had a meeting and I just said something similar to this. When I was invited to be a BIM consultant, like a BIM specialist, it's kind of different names for the same thing in a certain way. I said, okay, but I won't quit the architectural part. Okay, I will stay as an architect for the simple reason that being in involved in the industry, in the design, in the construction, will allow you to receive the input from certain issues that are happening on the daily basis, right? So I can bring that to the BIM part, BIM side as a BIM consultant, and either work on solutions that will help my clients, or vice versa. The clients are finding some issues that I need to study about them and try to promote the solution. So this will have impact in also my way of work as an architect and also as a BIM consultant and in the company, because I'm finding the solutions for their issues. And sometimes I already have the solution, they just need to ask. So this is kind of a connected thing. Is not, I don't make it one or the other. I don't think like a specialized person. Of course, the name is there, but it's like being able to expand this BIM knowledge, but inside the industry. We have lots of examples of startup companies that even if they have lots of money, put it in there, they were not able to succeed in the industry because probably, and I'm just saying probably, it's a personal opinion, they were not able to understand the issues of the industry, and they were trying just to create solutions for the technological part. So I'm always afraid of not being with one foot on the other and the other on the BIM side. So having these 2 foots on one in one part and the other on the other, I think could help to find better solutions to the industry instead of just trying to find solutions to sell new tools, new software and stuff like this. And this inside of the industry is really important. I cannot say to a construction company, you should do that, if I never put a foot on a construction site. So because I know that people on the construction site won't simply start to use tablets to read the projects or to see the 3D model, I know that I cannot say, okay, why don't you just fire everyone else and hire people just to start to use tablets? It's not a solution. You need to be aware of it. You need to be very pragmatic and sensible to those things.
From what I can understand based on what you just mentioned, is like you don't see architecture and BIM as two separate, how do I say, two separate entities. So they help each other.
Yeah.
So, and I think that's also, that belief is also why like you have BIM integrated in all your firm's projects. So what value does adopting BIM brings to your firm?
Being more pragmatic, I think it's about the testing and about the time. Okay. I'm always thinking when we do the comparison to other industries, and even inside our industry, when we go to bigger companies that can do, for instance, one-to-one scale mockups, I think they can test the materials and everything there. Or if you go to the car industry where they do this one-to-one scale clay cars, mockups and stuff like this. In our sector, and when we are creating our company, we don't have the opportunity to say, okay, let's spend more money just testing things. That's not a possibility. So the value for the company is there. I'm able to having in my desk my 3D model and Google, sorry, not Google, the VR goggles where you can use just to jump to the project. So one moment you are just looking to some floor plans, but at the second after you can simply put your goggles and you simply are in one-to-one scale. You are trying to see things that probably you missed, or even the opportunity to educate the clients. Okay, this is something I find really important because sometimes it's difficult because I talk a lot and I give too much information to the client, but I think they can also go to the process of saying, okay, I care about this, I don't care about this. They probably after 1 hour don't remember what I said, but I'm sharing information and putting them inside of their own projects, really putting them with VR systems, putting them on their projects. It's really an amazing experience. Also for me as an architect, because it's the moment I realize that client understands the value of what I'm trying to propose, because otherwise they are just waiting for the building to be done. And it's kind of a risky, right? Paying $500,000 or 200,000 euros just to wait for a building to be finished, and then I realize this is not what I wanted. So yeah, I think that's the value. And of course, understanding the planning part and the cost part, understanding, okay, if I have an issue, I can simply select it and do the coordination with the structural engineer and try to solve it before we go to the construction site. So I'm still working on this education part because I'm trying to take more time during the design phase and less time on the construction phase. But because everyone thinks they need more time is different. It's difficult to prove that to the client. It's difficult to show them, okay, we are working in something that is still not ready, so we need to wait more time to make sure everything is in place. But overall, I think this capacity of testing, and I'm eager and trying to orient myself to a data-driven process that is more interesting than the document-driven process. So I'm not trying to export PDFs from my modules. The idea is to be able to create or let's say extract value from the data we are creating when we are creating a project. So being able to use that data to have impact either on the operation part of the building, but also on future projects of ours, it's really good because it's like when you are testing some aerodynamic on the cars or some other properties on airplane and stuff like this. You need data to validate your processes. You need data to make sure that you are creating better buildings. So this is kind of something that validates your design and also makes sure that you have value as a company.
Okay. I think that's also one of the reasons why BIM is becoming very popular. But being able to test and also saving time. So you mentioned at the very beginning of this interview that you are, trying to have your own firm and also working as a BIM consultant. So how do you manage your roles as a firm owner and then a BIM consultant with working with other firms?
You have to be very clear about the boundaries of one and the other, okay? Because sometimes you are working with companies that are also doing the same thing as you, okay? And it's very important to make sure, okay, what I'm bringing to those companies and what I'm taking from those companies is bidirectional. So I'm getting their knowledge, but what I'm testing also on my side, I'm also giving them. So it's very important for you to, when you go to a company, especially when I'm doing BIM consultancy, you are not there as an architect. You're not there as a designer. You won't have any impact on the project itself, okay? You learn from the projects as they have different kind of type of solutions and different type of materials that you need to understand how to put there the real world materials information and stuff like this. But it's about quantity and about quantity of materials and solutions and quantity of problems. But you need to be very precise that you're not having impact or bringing the information to your company, because in the end, it's like you're not their employee in the end. So you're not going there and trying to solve their own issues as designers. You need to be very pragmatic about that. And I think that's where the consultancy part is really difficult for someone that's trying to be being an architect or an engineer and also doing consultancy to other companies. You need to be very pragmatic about this boundary, because otherwise you may get lost and say, okay, these guys are doing amazing things, and why I'm not doing it, and then you can start to feel even depressed because it's not, you're not in the same path, you're not in the same position. Where you are is that you are finding the same solutions, or working on together to find the best solutions to the issues. But it's really important to keep it side by side and not mixed, because otherwise it's kind of very difficult. And of course that has impact on the time you spend, right? Because if you think, okay, this is really where I want to be and I want to achieve that kind of the same result, then you'll always try to change your projects around that, and it's not possible, and that will consume more time, because you will try to figure out how they do it and try to put it there. So I think the overall goal is for you to understand your role. And I think this will work also if you are inside of a company that has these really structured roles, because and we are discussing this also with some of the students. It's important for them to understand the goal, and the goal will result in a certain role inside of a company. But if they are expecting to design projects, if they are achieving or trying to achieve a information manager / BIM manager role, of course they are not, probably won't be doing any kind of a project. So they need to be aware of that. They need to be clear about what kind of role they want to achieve in the future, and not mix things.
So we talked about challenges of starting one's firm just now, but how about, like, what challenges have you faced while working on BIM projects as a firm, and also again as a BIM consultant working with others, especially who have just taken up BIM?
I think that there's one problem that is common to both situations, because the lack of information, or the lack of maturity of the companies that work with us, both with me as a company and with my clients as while I'm working as a consultant, is really an issue, because you may say you do a 3D model, but then you are missing lots of information and you're not able to do anything with it. So, or even people that don't work with a BIM at all. So they are just trying to use a 3D model for some reason, but they're not able to get the value from that. So I think that is one of the main issues and difficulties that I find. Yeah, but overall, I think this lack of maturity is at least right now one thing that really make me spend more time trying to redo things and trying to understand if things are, because at a certain point probably I have to remodel things. In a certain project I was doing the modeling of the structural beams and columns just for the positioning part, of course, but that was really not it was work that I need to do as just for me, and not charge the client, because the client don't understand why I was doing it, and that is really some tricky part. And of course in the companies it depends also on the scale. As a BIM consultant, it depends on the scale, because in my company the advantages of being the founder, strange word yet, is that you can make it mandatory, let's call it like this. So it's like we need to adapt to that. Okay, it's kind of sometimes forcing, but it is the one way to do it. But when you are working for other companies, you probably are in a company that has a bigger structure, so internal structure. So people are not aware of what is happening regarding the project, and they probably, when they receive different information, they start to say, okay, I don't want this, I want the old way. And being able to do this kind of implementation that allows everyone to understand that you are trying to promote something that is integrated with the company systems, the company human resources, is part of the process. But sometimes you only have access to a couple of people, so, or 10 people, let's say, and then the other should be, let's say, contaminated. it's the way you put it. You just try to put so much information in a certain group of people, and then they will go there and try to disseminate the BIM word and decide to make others also work on the same way. But definitely this lack of maturity is an issue.
What BIM softwares do you use on a regular basis? Do you have a favorite?
So this is also one of the things that students ask me a lot. Um, and I always share with them this kind of a graphic way to show different tools that can be applied in the BIM environment. I will avoid this answer just for a simple reason, because I think it's important to always be looking for the best tool to solve an issue. Of course, the common answer, Revit is the common answer for the, let's say, the BIM repository. And I understand Revit as that because I think it's really important and powerful while connecting the data in the place where you go where to see and probably extract the data. But I think depending on the type of the company, architecture or engineer company, probably you are also using other tools that will allow you to manipulate geometries, to extract data, to give input to the model, and also the scale of the project is important. Okay, if you are doing infrastructure, a big project of infrastructure, probably you're not using Revit or just using Revit in the end. But what I think it's really important is to target the interoperability issues, and for that I think working, or let's say the value of tools like, some of them are plugins, some of them are more than just plugins, but BIM or BEAM, it's not BIM, but BIM. It's a really nice tool that allows you to connect information from Rhinoceros to Revit, for instance. Rhino Inside, it's also amazing. I do enjoy the work Speckle is doing. They are really targeting interoperability. So it's also some of those things that you should have on your machine to make sure you are working with different tools, but then you are able to put your information on Revit, for instance. And of course, tools like Blender that I'm still exploring, to be honest, but allow you to explore geometry, other kinds of shapes, and you can target the form finding processes there. And of course, Grasshopper and Dynamo, all of these are part of a more vast environment than when I can explain right now. But I think all of these, even Unreal Engine 5, that is really amazing, and I'm still working also on that. It's really, you can see, as you can see, I'm someone that is targeting a lot of things, because it's like, oh, that's nice, that's nice, that's nice. So I cannot be very specialized, because I'm just trying to find the best of each solution and then try to make them work together. But yeah, I think it's a vast world, and the really where the brains are is one that person that is capable to understand, okay, for that and for the time we have and the amount of money we'll receive, this is the best solution. So I will stay with this.
All right. Uh, I think it's important to find the best tool for workflows, because it can change. Yeah.
Definitely. And sorry, allow me just to add one more thing, because we are just talking about tools that have direct impact on the project itself, but there are lots of tools that will allow you to manage the time, all the data, all the exchange information requirements, the information from the client, all the documentation that you need to make sure that you are following, and even for quality check. So it doesn't matter if you have this really nice building or this nice model, but doesn't have the information that the client wants. So all of these other tools that are around this, even before you start the project, are really important, because it allow you to have a place where you have the data to go and check. Okay, and people are doing amazing jobs with that. And I cannot end without saying that using open BIM for these interconnection between different tools, and even making sure that you have access to your projects in the future. I think it's really amazing, because if you target open BIM and these tools, it will be really amazing, and you won't be just blocking yourself or losing your intelligence, because it's about that. In the end, you are applying all your effort on creating a building and a project, of course, but in the end, you may have not access to it in a couple of years. Okay.
That's true. So actually, like those who are new to the BIM industry might think that, Revit is the only software, or, there is this misconception that Revit is BIM. There's this common question, I would say. And also there's this another common myth that BIM is only suitable for large projects or firms. What's your take on this, Andre?
Uh, yeah, those two are kind of my initial topic of conversation with people that talks about BIM for the first time. Yeah, we like Revit models and that's it. Of course, that's not the only thing. And the scale is other thing that people tend to use to avoid adaptation, because I think it's better to just say, okay, I'm so good in doing this in this kind of tool. I'm not mentioning any specific tool, and because I'm so good, let's just keep it at, and it will take more time to learn a new tool and so on. So I think this is not about neither the tool, neither the scale of the project. Is way more about the mentality of the companies, because they normally cannot afford, or they don't want to afford the time to learn this tool and then go through the time where you're not being very productive because you're still learning the tool and you still need to deliver some projects, but it will take much more time than in the beginning. But after a while, you'll learn and you'll have the benefit. So regarding the scale of the project, I don't think it's really a key factor, because even some standards, this is some things curious, because even some standards mention as an example small things like painting or changing some finishings or stuff like this. So it's possible, it's feasible, and it's not like you just deal with these amazing and giant buildings. No, of course, if you are just changing some finishings or some doing some interior parts of the building, probably you are not using as much tools as if you are doing this hotel or with or skyscraper or stuff like this. That's true, but it's the same principle as what we said before. It's about knowing how much tools, how many tools do you need, and what is the benefit of each one of them. Probably, if you are doing just this, replacing the finishing of an exterior of a building, probably you are just needing to use a Revit and just creating a simple model, and then you just need the detail of the finish. But it's about knowing the process and understanding, okay, this is where we have the value, this is how we can do it, and in the end, the benefit of spending less time and controlling the costs and so on is still there. It doesn't matter the scale.
And how about for BIM? In addition to modeling, what skills should architects know to enter the BIM field?
Before entering?
Yeah, so they want to enter the BIM field, what skills should they know?
I think skills that we are seeing a trend that is not from this or last year, but even 2018, I think people are changing even the roles they have. So they are not just doing architecture parts. They may be an architect or engineer, but they are learning coding. I think is something really interesting, because in the end, there are no tools that will do exactly what you want. And if you learn code, and of course learn how to deal with APIs and stuff like this will be good, because you'll understand the benefits and extract the best of each tool. So if I had to give us actually advice to myself, I'd say learn code from the beginning, because it's really something that will unlock some doors. Of course, you may be someone that is creating tools and plugins and stuff like this, but probably you could be also someone that understands that you can use certain languages to solve issues or create certain automatizations that will allow your company to be better. And even in BIM is about automatization in the end. So if you have digital process, you can try to automate some of them. I think it's I would say, if I have to select one, I'd say code and data understanding data and databases. I think it's also something that can be also related with code, but that will have a big impact in the industry.
Okay, that's a little bit unexpected. So you were mentioning students quite a few times, so I think it's necessary now to say that you are one of the founding mentors at 1:X BIM professional course. So in your opinion, why would you recommend a 1:X BIM professional course to architects or anyone interested in BIM? And also, how has your experience been so far as a course mentor?
Yeah, I think one of the, and this is kind of recent because in our industry things take too much time. So you start a project and then you just build it for after 4 years. You start to learn a methodology or a tool, and you take 1 or 2 years to be really good at that tool. And the same happens when you are dealing with people. So at a certain point, because and I'm saying this because I was really happy with the chat I had with the other mentors this weekend. And it's in the end, it's about the networking also, correct? It's about understanding the value of different people from different parts of the world, different companies, different scales of companies also. And these mentors don't have this, let's say, they have, I think we work really nice as a collective. The idea of people that have really nice spots there, they're really good at that part, and we are able to bring this knowledge and put it together and make it like a more coherent thing, and people can our students are able to not simply say, okay, of course it's amazing to see, I want to do the same thing as the mentor because it's working in a major company, but they also understand struggles if they want to create their own company. And they understand, even though that question that you made before regarding the application of BIM in different scale of projects, so they understand where BIM can have more impact on this type of project, on that type of project, and understand that we are all humans and we all start on a certain way, and in the end we end up here. So I think the honest facts course in this case is really good because all the mentors have these different ways of working in the industry, but they bring the knowledge, and it's really very compatible, at least from my point of view. And from the point of view of students, they get this knowledge, and they have the experience from 0 to 10, let's call it like this, where they're not just, they of course receive information about the tools. This everyone wants to learn the tool that we know the name, that we know to speak about it, and also they want to know about methodology. So they have this process, and it's really nice to see that we go through that, and then in the end we are trying to test them to see how they react to a mock-up hiring and stuff like this. So it's like more of an integrated process from 0 to 10, like I said, that will allow the student to gain the confidence, of course, the knowledge. And I think this is only possible because of the evolution of this digital world that we are nowadays using Zoom and other tools, allowing different mentors from different parts of the world and students from different parts of the world that are now networking during classes or after classes through other platforms, but all of them also to understand, okay, what were your struggles? What are my struggles right now? Are there any relations? So I think at that point, not just the content, because the content is good, and it's good because it's related with the knowledge of different mentors, but also this networking and this integration of different people from different parts of the world to understand, okay, I'm learning from also my colleagues. And this is something I think it's really have a really nice value, and I think also allow people then to be more easily integrated in companies in their future jobs.
So thank you so much for this interview. I hope that whoever this one of learners or viewers will learn many useful information, because I myself have learned more about them, and also about starting a firm, even though I won't be doing it. But yeah, it's been really great having it.
Thank you so much. I think it is interesting to share and then receive some feedback, because sometimes we as an architect, and probably others will think the same, will too much on our head, and it's easier to lose the focus. And I think it's important for everyone also to share. And let's see, try to find, okay, well, this is nice, and it is one other way to see things differently. And it's my only it's only my personal opinion, let's call it like that.
But that can also be another advice, actually.
Okay, I'm extending too much my advice, I think. Yeah, I'm one.
All right, so okay, thank you so much today, Andre. Okay, it's been really lovely talking to you.